Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. I am so excited for this episode. It is a wonderful trip down memory lane, which I have been taking many of recently since I'm back in New York. And yeah, it is really late, but it's worth it. And I'm not going to put the blame on anybody, but I've been spending time with someone we like. This was 100% my fault. The episode is late because of me. I'm Charlotte. I'm Charlotte. If you didn't know, it's me.
Yay!
And we just watched a lot of home videos together, and it was really cute. Cutest videos ever. Yeah, you helped me bowl. That was so nice. I was so upset with myself, but you really were a good sister.
You're still the same way in bowling, and so am I. It's so funny. I bowled like a month ago, and I do the same thing. And I'm just like, fuck it, man. I don't want to be here anymore. And little Charlotte was just like rolling rocks down the gutter, giving herself some thumbs down on the way back.
Yeah, everyone's literally like, no, it's okay. Good job. And just like, no, I'm horrible.
Anyway, it's been really fun. I almost just fell asleep on Charlotte's Helix mattress, and she was like, please don't do that.
Well, I also wanted to do that.
Yeah, but she has to go out. So we're only getting a little taste of her for a little bit. But, you know, maybe we'll take another trip down memory lane soon. Who knows?
I would love to, and also sleep.
You have to go to dinner now. And I have to go to dinner with our dad.
I'm really sad I can't come.
It's okay. You'll come soon. We've been doing a lot of hanging. I feel like it's nice making up for lost time. Does it make me do episodes later? Yeah. Was I going to procrastinate anyway? Yeah. But was today totally worth it?
100%.
Best day ever?
100%, mate.
Charlotte got to lay between me and her boyfriend, who's like so cute, you guys. He's the best.
We watched Titanic and cried so much.
Yeah, we both sobbed, and then he like laughed at us, and we were like, please don't laugh at us.
We're like, but it's so sad.
It's so sad. But yeah, I missed my cyst, and I wanted to I missed my cyst.
My cyst.
Oh, yeah, as daughters of dermatologists, that's not like very appealing.
Like, gross, drain that shit.
Yeah, but also appealing. Juicy, fun times for all. Maybe we'll post some of our little, what do you call it, home movies. All right, we're gonna go. She has to go, but I thought you guys might want to hear from her.
It's so nice to be here, guys. I miss everyone so much. Bye.
Bye, I love you.
I love you.
Congratulations on the hot boyfriend.
Oh, thanks. He's so nice.
He's so nice. So no congrats this week, because congrats to Charlotte and congrats to us for getting to hear her lovely voice again. And also our main guest today, there's a lot of congrats in this journey because, you know, this is a memory lane episode, but also just a celebration of, you know, that quote that's like, you always need people from your past in your present, or like people who knew you when. This is a person who knew me when. This is a person who I knew when. And I'm just very excited to share our growth together and this episode with them. Yeah, so this episode is with one of my really, really long time friends, drag queen Poutine Levine, aka my friend Richard Pascal. And yeah, I'm stoked to share this episode with you. We recorded a full hour after this. So if you guys want to hear that, go to patreon.com/howcome. And the whole unedited thing is there. And yeah, get pumped, you guys. Thanks to BetterHelp for supporting How Come. For 10% off your first month, go to betterhelp.com/howcome and start living a better life today.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just.
How does it start again? Like,
what?
this is my first podcast.
How does it start again? I've never done this.
I will ask you how you'd like to be introduced. I think I will say my friend Richard, aka Poutine Levine, unless you want me to just say Poutine Levine.
Whatever. I mean, with this makeup, there's no fantasy, so
There is fantasy still. You did such a good job. What's happening?
my bracelet fell off. It's really hard to do things.
It's so funny because I'm like half like, yes, amazing in drag. And then I'm half like, is he going to be comfortable?
No,
Like-
I'm so not comfortable, but that's like part of it.
Okay.
Like I'm comfortable like
Psychologically.
Yeah.
When I'm uncomfortable physically, I'm also uncomfortable psychologically.
But you and I have always been different in that way.
Yeah.
Like I'll always sacrifice. I'll complain the whole time, but like
Yeah,
I'll still
worth
do
it. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's comedy. Wait, literally I cannot open the fan with these. Okay. Am I at a good angle? Let's
Don't
see.
take your gloves off again.
Okay.
These gloves are like if Penguin did drag.
Like literally / Catwoman / like. What if I'm just like?
Yeah, I love that. Okay. I am so excited for this episode. You guys, welcome my friend Richard Pascal, aka the wonderful Poutine Levine.
Hello, bonjour.
Hello, bonjour, Poutine. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Oh my god, I was not prepared for this question.
I wasn't prepared for bonjour.
Can you tell that I like studied French my whole life, but like still can't speak it? Oh, that's something about myself. Okay, well, hi, I'm Poutine Levine from Montreal. I currently live here, even though I'm like primarily like an LA queen, but I like moved home. So
Pandemic.
now I'm a Montreal girl again, even though I've never performed here because everything's been closed. So that's fun. I have not been in drag in like 6 months, and I forgot how
Yep.
like amazingly uncomfortable it is. But
And then was forced into drag by me today.
I know, but honestly, like, thank you, because I am, as you know, not a self-motivator.
No. Also, this is the Richard I've been talking about. Like, I've
Hi.
mentioned Richard so many times.
Wait, before we even get into it, remember when you were telling a joke about me and you were like, your meanest friend, and then you called me out and I wasn't at your show?
Classic. It was actually the perfect button to that joke. But yeah,
Not a self-motivator. I have been telling myself like every day for 6 months since the last time I did drag, like, okay, like get into drag tomorrow so that like you don't forget how to do it.
yes.
And I did.
And I have
today
been
was
saying that the entire pandemic. I'm like, have you done makeup
Literally,
recently?
you, my therapist, like people who don't even like support drag, like homophobes on the street, like, why aren't you doing your makeup? But yeah, that's how I met Six.
Her drag mother. I have seen you through a ton of iterations of yourself way before drag, when you like finally made the leap to like go back to school for creative writing and like really like delve into like who you are, and then interned at Betches, and like now this is I dare I say not a final form, but a really
It's up there in
evolved
the
form of
evolution,
yours.
yeah.
It took a really
I feel like I'm gonna be cutting you off the whole time because like I always cut you off, but like it's a professional setting and I'm like,
yeah, you're like,
Still me.
ugh, I have to be nice to her. But at the end of the day, I have editing power, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, I feel like it's been a long time coming that like you have become Poutine, but also that you say hello to these listeners. And I think it was like last week's episode, like we're all talking about late blooming and stuff. I brought you up in that episode as well. And I got a text from you the second after I left that episode, which I was like, okay, it's time.
oh my, was it the
I finished this recording with Fat Carrie Bradshaw and Eric Williams about gay-ass movies, which we have discovered they're not movies about being gay. They're just movies that queer people loved. And I get this text from Richard with a screenshot of ABBA's Slipping Through My Fingers and says, totally brought myself to tears in the bathroom performing this for my daughter, who doesn't exist.
It's like I only listen to music now that I could like lip sync to. So like I heard it in a TikTok, probably the one that you sent me about the dad who supported the kid in theater.
Ugh, so cute.
So
and
I
he
like
became the stage
Goo-
manager.
so he could just
yeah,
like
and it
spend
was like
time with him.
literally the one ABBA song that I like didn't know. So I like Googled the lyrics. I was like, oh my God, it's ABBA, perfect.
How do you
And it
not
was
know
like,
that? It's the scene where
I
she's
don't,
getting ready for her wedding.
because I love Mamma Mia, but like there are parts of it that speak to me more, like the big group numbers,
Mhm.
than like a like somber like wedding vibe.
You
You
need
know
to
what I
see it in
mean?
a 15-second TikTok for it to really hit you, the song.
Yeah, exactly. Like with like a queer story like overlaid
Mhm.
instead of what was going on in the movie. And then I literally
Yeah, like we don't
listened
care
to
about
it
her
for
marriage to Sky.
no, and her like multiple dad figures. Yeah, so I listened to it for like probably a week straight. It was all that I was listening to, and my brother is staying with me right now,
Mhm.
and I feel like he can always hear like me in my bathroom like having a concert, but like this one was like embarrassing because I like rarely cry. I mean, I used to rarely cry, now I cry all the time because like
Mhm.
the world.
Yay.
But
The
I
second you dressed up as Kris Jenner, you were like, I can be powerful and cry.
Oh my God. Yeah, I now all I watch is like Britain's Got Talent golden buzzers and like cry
Literally,
for
you
these.
send me shit that I'm like, I've cried too much this week. I cannot.
I don't even know who I've become, but I've turned into this like crier. But so I was like performing this song like in my bathroom to my daughter that I don't have, but like in the mirror. And by the end of it, I was like literally in tears, and I was like, am I drag icon?
Yeah.
Or am I just literally losing it?
You know how I know you're gay? You made yourself cry by singing to yourself in the mirror.
And that was probably like if I was a cry, like I've been singing to myself for a long time, so this was like a long time coming.
Yeah, no.
But I finally
I'm going to
let
tell
loose.
Charlotte about it, and she's going to lose her shit, because if you ask her, be like, what songs did Remy write that she made herself cry about, like in childhood? One of them is inspired by Wario in Mario,
But I feel like
Mario Kart. Do you know this?
Yes.
It was like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna, and then I would like start bawling because I wasn't winning.
Wait, like Wario and Luigi and Waluigi,
like Wario,
gay.
evil.
No, but I'm saying like they're gay, right?
Waluigi, I could see being like a bisexual icon. Yes.
And like I feel like Wario and Waluigi like
I feel like they're
have-
brothers. The way that Mario and Luigi are.
Oh, in my mind, they were just like, it's almost like they're like drag personas. Like they're not, like they saw Mario and Luigi and they were like, we can do that.
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. There's like somebody under their name, like Tom. Like Wario's not a real guy. It's just like
Yeah.
a drag name.
The mustache is like a lace front.
Can I tell you something? So it's like Mario, Wario, right? Makes
Yeah.
sense. Luigi, not Wooigi, Waluigi. Why?
Yeah.
Because in Japanese, the word for bad is warui.
Oh.
Waluigi. Pretty cool, right?
Learn something new every day.
Learn something new on the podcast.
Which I listen to now.
Yeah, that was another thing. That was so funny. We've literally been friends for like 10 years. 10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
And it was like, it took a pandemic for Ms. Poutine to be like, hey, like this podcast is good that you do.
Well, I never listened to podcasts, even though like I should, because like you have one, but I just never did. And then now I do, and I listened to yours, and I was like, oh, like she's like good at this.
Thanks. I think it's like an also really cool, like, not to make it all about us, but this episode might just be about us a little bit, but like in our friendship progression, like we've gone through so many different stages too.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like you and I have gone like, I don't know. We came from a group of friends where we were always like both kind of strange and like needed to like support each other sometimes, but didn't know how sometimes. And
Yeah.
like both of us would do it the wrong way sometimes. But now like
Mhm.
since we've been like either separate from people or just like going out and doing what we want and like really figuring out like who we are separately. Like I feel like we've come back together even stronger as friends.
I agree. Yeah. I think like we, for so many years, first of all, we've always talked about this. Like we were like the jesters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like we, like, this is me, like the producers like pit us against each other, like in our show. But it's like, I think that like we had sometimes where we like clicked really strongly, but also were competitive, but didn't acknowledge that we were competitive because we like
Because
don't do the same
how would
thing.
we be competitive? It's like
We weren't doing
he's
anything.
a gay man.
Well, I used to say, I think that you are a gay man in a woman's body,
Yeah.
and I'm a girl in a man's body, or in a, like, whatever the proper terms are. I mean, we were not using the proper terms at the time.
We're essentially being like, we're trans, but also not having the language.
Well, now I realize that I'm fluid and that I'm both, and that I fall somewhere in the middle, though I like still don't feel really comfortable like taking up space in that world, because just
but like even just saying it is like, that's wonderful. Like I'm so proud of you.
I feel, well, it's interesting because I feel like for like, we're both late bloomers, but in that journey, I maybe was like ahead in certain things from you, but it took you coming out as non-binary to make me realize like, oh, like the middle ground that I've always clumsily sort of described or like not really understood that I felt in there, and you know, went so far as to like start doing drag, and still sort of like I would get out of drag and I would like, you know, I'm comfortable with all pronouns. I mean, in drag, female, I don't do all of that. I mean,
I don't
know, like,
do this, so you call me Richard.
Yeah, like
Remy.
People write me dude to my Poutine account. I'm like I need to improve my makeup skills, but like that's totally the outside world making me feel that way, because like, as you said, nobody is owed anything. But I think that like it took me so long to realize that I don't have to, like, just because I do drag doesn't mean when I get out of drag I'm like on the other side of it.
Totally.
And for so long I didn't do drag. I just was sort of figuring out where I stood. I was always sort of comfortable in my body, like, you know, with what I was born with.
Yeah.
But inside, I always felt like there was something more. And I thought that Poutine was that. And Poutine did satisfy a certain sort of creative aspect of that. But I sort of, when you came out, I was like, it sort of not lit like a fire in my ass, but kind of lit a fire in my ass. Like, not like you were rushing me or anything, but I was like, oh my God, like, that's why we click so well, because we were sort of dealing with the same thing. And I sort of had these other, like, throughout my life, like before, sort of like earlier on than you. So I thought I'd figured it out. But then I was like, oh no, like I hadn't really figured it out. And now when people ask me, I say I'm fluid, but like it took me going to therapy, and it sort of took me, you know, you coming out, realizing that like out of drag, there's still an aspect of me that isn't fully
right. It's like I put the wig away and suddenly I'm still, it's like, yeah, okay, that costume felt really good, but I still feel a certain way after it's off.
Exactly.
I'm so glad that Poutine brought therapy up, because seriously, it is a thing that has helped me, has helped them, and like has helped our friendship, because I think so many times you rely on your friends to just dump stuff on, and either they're not equipped to deal with it, or they don't have the time, or, you know, they haven't gone through that thing themselves. So going to therapy is
so helpful. You know, there's lots of stuff that interferes with your happiness or prevents you from achieving your goals, and BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you to your own licensed professional therapist. You can connect in a safe and private online environment, so it's the most convenient thing ever. You can start talking to them in under 48 hours, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable room or leave your room. I don't want to leave my room. BetterHelp is way more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. They offer a broad range of expertise, which may not be locally available in many areas. Anything you share is confidential. I love how convenient, professional, and affordable it is. And there are licensed professionals that specialize in all of these things: depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, trauma, anger, grief, self-esteem, sexuality, or gender identity. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And they are available in many, 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 many countries. So I have been using BetterHelp, as you guys know. I love it because, maybe some days I don't want to have a full blown out session, but I want to keep track of diary entries, which is something that I do every day. BetterHelp reminds me, keep track of your mood by writing in your diary. And it is really awesome to write feeling good some days, it's an extra pat on the back. And it also reminds you, in the days that you are feeling down, that this isn't forever. But then there are the days that I want to have a phone session, and I book it and she is there immediately. I'm obsessed with my counselor. She's so great. She'll send me articles on stuff. It's a really no judgment platform. It really helps you out and therapizes everything that you could have ever dreamed of. So if you are ready to start living a happier life today, get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/howcome. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/howcome. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/howcome for 10% off your first month. Thank you so much, BetterHelp. Okay, let's get back to Poutine.
Exactly. And in LA, because I started doing drag when I moved to LA, there was this weird sort of compartmentalizing thing. Well, it was almost the opposite of compartmentalizing, where in my mind, I was oh, I'm a fully formed Richard before I even came to drag. So there was Richard, that everybody who knew me before that and who's known me my whole life knew me as Richard. Then there was Poutine, and everybody that I was meeting sort of in the queer world in LA knew me as Poutine. And then there was this sort of middle part where I was almost a little bit uncomfortable, because my friends who knew me before, who don't really have a lot of sort of introduction or knowledge of the drag world, were sort of confused when people would call me Poutine out of drag. So then in my mind, I was well, there's Richard, there's Poutine out of drag, and then there's Poutine. But now I realize that Poutine out of drag and Richard are really sort of much more interconnected.
Yeah.
And Poutine out of drag and Richard, it sounds so obvious, but it's the out of costume is still sort of all of this too.
Totally.
I mean, not all of this, but
it's part of it. And that's it's really nice to hear, because congrats. But also, I feel when I did start telling people about gender, but also about sexuality, there would be the really nice responses of, oh my God, that's amazing. Congratulations. I see that for you. But then there would be the responses well, don't you think everybody's non-binary? Or don't you think everybody's bi? And I'd be okay, then come out. And
I feel I was one of those people, because
right.
I was, and which is it's am I toxic? But yes, obviously, of course. Do you know me?
I potentially could be. Yeah. No, but maybe even saying that thing is wait.
Yeah. Oh, it was when I realized I was into guys. When I was younger, I was just when I kissed a girl for the first time, I was oh, everybody must be lying and saying that this is so great. I was this is just as good as it gets. And then when I realized I was gay, I was that's why it didn't feel good to me.
And that was so good.
And that was so rude.
How old were you? Do you remember? I don't think I've even asked you this.
I started realizing, well, I mean, I had my first boy crush I went to an all boys sports camp when I was younger.
Yeah, I told everybody.
Yeah, there was like this really hot guy a year older than me who was like a swimmer, and like everybody acknowledged that he was just like.
But how old were you?
Like maybe 11. I was like younger.
Okay.
I was younger for my grade, so yeah, probably.
Oh, right.
11,
We're a
12.
little bit younger for our grade. That's why we're
just,
late
like,
bloomers too, though. Because also whenever people tell you that you're like so young, you like kind of like lean into it. You're like, yeah, I'm so young.
Yeah, I'm just like young and full of youth, and I could have been I don't think it would have worked for me to be the oldest in a grade.
I don't think it would have worked for me either.
No. I mean, maybe I would have liked the power, but
you would have liked the power too much.
I would have been horrendous.
Yeah,
horrendous.
I would be like, scared of you.
Yeah, like when people are like, I can't believe you went to an all boys sports camp. I'm like, honestly, had I gone to theater camp, I would have been. This is me now.
Yeah,
I would have been insufferable.
The power would have been too intense. I think your all boys sports camp like gave you empathy. Like that was like not your one, but like a massive struggle. When I think of you and like things that you've gone through, I think about camp.
Oh yeah. Which is like, I mean, as far as like bad things to go through, like obviously like not that bad, like, because it taught me how to have fun in situations that I didn't find fun. Like it, honestly, I always say like camp taught me comedy because like I was being made fun of so much, and I was like very like nice as a child. So I was like being like victimized, but I was like, I'm not a victim. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the vocabulary, like that's like going around here. Like I understand the humor. I don't know why I brought vocabulary into it, but I was just like, I like could talk. So I was like, why can't I talk back? And then I sort of started fighting back. And at first it was just like being mean. And then I was like, okay, like being mean, people don't laugh at.
They don't respond to that well. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I tweak it.
Little reading flair.
Exactly. So it sort of taught me that. And then also there was a girls' camp that we would see not that often. But as we got older, like if you did like the play or like you had more socials. So like I sort of started realizing like they gave me like a t-shirt from their, like what their bunk was called, Soupy. They like gave me one, and I was like, I got in trouble for wearing it because we had uniforms and it wasn't technically the uniform, but I was like, okay, like girls, women, femme people are a safe space, the same way that like the theater staff who were, I realize now, my first sort of introduction to queer people was also a huge safe space for me at camp. And like, I also, but the flip side of that is like, because I went to a sports camp, like nobody really cared that much about theater. So like I would get lead roles and I would like
perform them for no one.
I'm going to get an Oscar. Like I was like, I would come home from camp and be like, I'm an amazing actor. Like I was Fred Flintstone. And like, I think in the back of my mind, or my mother's mind, she was like, yeah, because like nobody else auditioned.
Yeah, totally. But that's something that I've always loved too, is like you've always been able to like maintain the hype about yourself and the people around you who you see talent in. Like even if like in the moment, like it wasn't fucking cool to be weird when we were in college, you know, like I'll never forget the first day that you met me and your like first impression of me was like, you thought I was going to be like some sorority bitch or whatever.
Because you guys were in a sorority, but like
I wasn't.
Oh.
Hello, popping in. I just fully lied. I was in a sorority, but I never rushed. So like I never thought it was the same thing, and I like helped start it and like then got kicked out at one point. I'll tell that story another time. But yeah, fact check past me.
So we have a friend who introduced us and was afraid to introduce us and was like, oh no, you guys are going to like each other too much.
Or do you think secretly she thought we were going to be so annoying together?
I mean, also very annoying together.
Yeah.
But I just remember you coming and we immediately clicked. Immediately. And you told me like this year that you were like, oh my God, I'll never forget that day that like, I thought you were going to be like some blonde. And then we picked you up from acting class and you were like fucking weird.
I just had such a different impression of who you were going to be, and then you were the way you are.
Yeah.
I mean, but even now you were such more of a version of your, like, you're more yourself than you were then, and so am I. I say that in like full costume.
You'd been able to like see possibilities. Like I remember one time we went shopping and I like needed a t-shirt and you were like, you should get this gown. And I was like, for what? And you were like, for like the Oscars someday. Like, what if you win an Oscar? And I'm like, that is just such crazy thinking, but it's also like amazing.
Oh, do you know why I never let anybody in my family like go over to celebrities at restaurants? Not because it's going to bother the celebrities, but
it's going to be awkward when you're famous.
Like, yeah, when they're my peers. Like literally when I was younger, like we would be somewhere and there'd be a celebrity, and like I have younger siblings, and my dad's just like the nicest. He'd be like, yeah, of course, like we'll go take a picture. I'd be like, Dad, like don't embarrass me in front of my possible peers, like, which is just,
we're going to be working together soon.
Delusion. But
delusion, but like healthy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like everybody's kind of expected to fall in line and do the same thing or whatever. And like, yeah, people sometimes get creative for a second, but like you don't make a career out of that. And like, you kind of need the audacity to go into it, which like you have.
Well, not at first though. Not at first.
So how did you get the audacity?
Well, it was never like presented to me as like a viable option. So I started to go to school for history, and in my mind I was like, oh, but like Ubisoft is here. So I was like, I'll go into history, and then I'll get a job at a video game company.
Yeah.
But then I got the internship at Betches, and then I came home and I was like, I need to write. But in retrospect, also writing was just the first creative thing that I was like good at, that I saw. Like, oh, I was like, oh, there's a degree in that, so I could like do that.
And that has like some legitimacy. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a degree in theater too, but like I wasn't that delusional like by that point where I was like, I can go into theater. Like I was not, I can't remember lines.
Drag U had already been shut down, so you couldn't get a degree.
But I didn't even start watching Drag Race until I was in grad school, and everything that I like when you're in school for like dramatic writing, my outlet was always like watching movies and TV. Like that was like I was obsessed. And then when you're learning like how they work, watching them became so like just annoying. I was like, oh, like they should have done this. Like I'm not even good at figuring out my own B story, but now I can see an A, B, C, D story in like other people's work. And I was like, this is ruining everything for me. So I started going to drag shows in New York, and then started watching Drag Race. And by the end of grad school, I had a teacher who I like really respected. He was like the animation teacher. And I don't even know if he would remember asking me this, because like he didn't mean it in like an offensive way. But he was like, I was in his office asking him a question. He was like, can I ask you something? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, like at first I was like,
how dare you?
I was like, do you think I'm not good enough? And then in my brain, I was sort of like, well, kind of has a point. So I sort of answered, I was like, honestly, if I could sing or dance, I wouldn't be here. And then I sort of like, by the time I graduated, like I had done all this work, like to get like 2 degrees in writing. And I was like, I'm living in the States, like I'm making my dreams come true.
And you were like already like in your 20s. Like that's a late bloomy thing too, is like because your degrees were like in Canada, then New York, then switching a major, like you were in undergrad when you were like 23.
23.
Like late bloom.
I was really bad ADD. So I was like taking like 3 courses a semester when I was in history. And like, I mean, like not to make excuses, but like my mom was sick. So I was like drinking.
Your mom died. That's not like.
Well, okay. Well, so like, I mean, whatever, like my brother's in the other room, but no, but I always say that I went into the arts like over my mom's dead body, because my mom thought I was going into law school. Like my mom was like, oh, you're going to history. Most law students come from history. So you're going to be a lawyer. I was like, I mean, if you want to like play that game in your mind, like totally.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. But right before she passed away, I got that internship. And my dad always says that like it sort of relieved her of the worry that like I was going to pursue something that I didn't have a future in. So she was like, oh, like, I think that it showed her like I can pursue creative things and then it could work. So yeah, so that was all going on when I was at Concordia in history. And I was like, I mean, when I got put on academic probation there, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is real now. Like, I guess you have to show up to exams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got that internship and I came home and I was like, the reason I hate school is because I never have done anything that I like in school. If I get it? And my dad was like, look, if you get into a good program,
We're
I
here
will
for
support
you.
you
Yeah.
to switch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm super grateful and I'm like obviously very lucky that I was able to do that. But I did all this work to like become a writer. And then by the end of it, I was like, I think I want to be a drag queen.
The
And I
thing
like had
is, though,
started.
is like it's not a waste because I do
No.
feel like it was like a first hurdle for you to be like,
Totally.
I want to do this. I'm going to do something
Yeah.
that I want to do and that I think I'm good at and you are good at.
Yeah. I mean, I still do it. Like I do copywriting, which like I call it a corporate gig, but it's like not really, like it's for like a game. Like I do it for like game companies and like whatever, but
Yeah.
it's like it's not like a waste. And I met all these amazing, talented
Creative
writers.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Who like, maybe I'll have a show one day and like they'll write it and like I'll just sit in the room and be like, change that word.
You cast me in your college soap opera.
Oh my God, soap opera class at the new school, which like you honestly saved because we were
I was very
flopping.
bossy. I was very
It was
bossy.
gonna be
I
a
literally came in. I
big
was like,
flop.
yeah, I'm going to star in this and I'm going to tell all the cameras how to move. Like,
Yeah, literally without you. I remember when you came to the audition, I was like, I have a friend, and like everybody knew me as like not that serious about things. Like I'm like serious, but even when I'm serious, like unless I'm like angry, like I'm never that serious. So like,
do you think it's because
like
being serious wasn't like it wasn't like
just takes a lot of
looked
effort.
well upon in our like in our few years of growing up? Like if you like tried at something, like you were like a loser. Like I remember
it was
like
lame.
Yeah, people would be like,
Yeah.
oh, you studied for that, or they'd like lie about studying because like you didn't want to be a trier. And now
Yeah,
it's like
being not popular, like definitely put me on a path of like, okay, people respond well when I act a fool.
yeah.
So I'm going to be a class clown. I'm not going to take things that seriously. And then it like spiraled.
Yeah. And when I do something seriously, like I'm going to pass it off as like, oh, that was so easy. I can't even think of that. Yeah.
Oh, but like never me, because I'm too vocal about like through the process of like struggling. Like struggling is such a big part of like my comedy that it's like nobody believes when I do something and I'm like when I walked out of a test and I was like, I failed that. You know, when people are like, I failed that.
Yeah. No, like
I
you meant
always,
it.
I failed it. No, I literally
No,
failed.
I actually failed. Yeah. So they expected you to like be like lackadaisical, and then you brought like type
brought
A.
You, and they were
Virgo-me.
like, they for sure before you auditioned were like, okay, like I guess you can bring your friend, like we'll see how this goes. And then you were amazing. So
Thank you. I was gonna say, speaking of struggle, which is kind of like tied into this the soap opera project, it was my first time playing a closeted person. And yeah. And I remember at the time, like, just feeling like, okay, wait, how do I act closeted as someone who might be closeted, but doesn't want anybody to know that they're closeted, like even my friend, because like, I don't know. I and we have talked about this, and we're not mad at each other anymore. But I remember one time I was like, oh yeah, I think I might be bi, and you were like, don't steal my struggle. And
literally like toxic fucking
yeah.
person that I think that because we were competitive and we would sometimes compete for attention, I think that I mistook that as like, this is for show. And I think that you did always seem very sure of yourself. So it was hard for me to think of you as somebody who is like struggling internally with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we had never discussed it. And we had discussed so many other sort of like, I mean, both you and I have had like, you know, mental health stuff. So it's like, we had always discussed those other things. And I think also we had been each other's target for a while. When that came up, it was like, I was like, I don't think I was in a place to receive it.
Totally.
And I think I mean, I've apologized about this to you before, but it's like, I mean, in retrospect, it was like such a like, it was like an honor, and I took it as like not what it was. And it was like,
yeah. But the
yeah,
thing
like,
is we've had those conversations like since.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. But it's also like that
like
is
the fact
like
that
the
I could
most
say that to you and be like, oh, like I came out again when I was more sure, and you were really wonderful and receiving. And then I think I said, hey,
I
do you
hope so.
remember this? And you were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like we've
I
learned
also
on
think,
these parallel paths too.
yeah. Well, we were also very like with the way that we talk about things, because we're both like in one way or another like comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we got to a place where we were so like flippant with
Mm-hmm.
real emotional stuff
Mm-hmm.
that like we were it I don't even think I thought twice about saying it, because I was like, we say stupid shit to each other all the time.
Yeah.
But this feels different. It's like I don't remember all the stupid shit that I've said, but like I remember the moment. And why I was so sorry when you brought it up again was because I remember it's not that I remember thinking about it and not feeling badly about it, but I remember literally not thinking about it again.
Right.
Like I remember just like sort of
Right.
going on with our day, and I was like, in retrospect, it was such a fucked up thing,
Yeah.
and especially from your like out of the closet already,
Yeah.
seemingly like, I mean, obviously now we know that like I wasn't even fully aware of
You weren't
myself, but
even
it's like,
fully formed yet. Yeah.
but I also think that it was probably some sort of projection of like, well, what do you mean? Like, I thought by this point we know everything.
We knew
about
everything.
ourselves.
Yeah.
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 So does that mean that like but it's like, I'm not a psychologist. So.
Yeah, no, but it might like shake the thing, being like, wait, am I not fully formed yet? And it's like, yeah. Like, you're still growing. We still have stuff to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is so wonderful, because even though it was like not the best response, like you as a person, Tim as a person, like having queer friends around me who I've always been really bonded with and have been able to see them express themselves and find happiness that way, like that nourishes me. You know, like I don't even need, I do love the support now. Like,
yeah, no, of course. I mean, like, don't make excuses for me. You don't need to make excuses for me, for your patrons.
No, he was always a really good friend.
No,
except one time, but we've also talked about that too.
Wait, which?
When I had just broke up.
Wait, but this is so unfair because you remember everything.
I do.
I literally do not remember like my day. So like, this is unfair, but it's also not unfair because it happened. I just didn't come on your podcast to drag you, and this is an ambush. No, I'm joking.
This is the reopening to drag you.
Here for it.
So funny. Okay, well, I did want to talk about these movies because there are like so many that I was like, we need to just like discuss more. Like I loved everything Eric and Chris said. But
great episode. I actually listened to it.
Thank you. No, I know he actually supports me. It's really crazy.
I am a patron.
I know. It's insane.
This is for me right now.
I know. Also, I hate to tell you this, but like your biggest fear is coming true right now, because I remember when we used to have like this fake reality show that we would call
Manhattan
like with our friends. Yeah. Manhattan Social. And it was like our group of friends or whatever. And like we would like do like fake like housewives openings and stuff and be like, I'm Richard. Yeah. Like previously on Manhattan Social, like Remy was being a total bitch and trying to steal my struggle. Like, but you had said to me, you were like, my greatest fear in life is coming on a reality show with the Chiron as Remy's friend. No, you're literally you're gonna be drag queen and Remy's friend.
Literally, yeah. I mean, but at this point in my life, you know what?
Proud to be my friend.
You take the press that you could get.
Yeah, totally.
I'm no longer a young spring, like 23-year-old. So I'm here out of desperation.
This isn't just press. This is pressure, because I really think that you could do fantastic things if you just beat your face once a week. So companions, please message Poutine and say, Poutine, will you start a web show where you do makeup until you're good at it? Because we need some accountability.
Yeah, like this is garbage, and it took me like 7 hours.
I got to watch some of it on FaceTime, and like the beginning shots are some of the scariest shit I've ever seen.
Well, usually like with drag queens, it's like they're always like, okay, but like the beginning's always bad and then it all comes together in the end. Like usually at the end, I'm like, I feel like it's not supposed to look like this.
I was going to say, that's like an amazing metaphor for life. It's like, oh, it looks really bad along the way, but then it's going to look amazing. And I'm like, not if you have body dysmorphia.
No. As we know, when I say I fail, I actually fail.
No, but you look glorious right now. Like,
thank you.
The wig
but I'm looking
is
at my
everything.
nose and it's like, I don't even think that I'm like, did I forget to contour
I don't
my
think
nose?
you contoured your nose, but it looks
I
good.
literally think it's fine.
So you brought yourself to tears in the bathroom, and I was like, ha ha ha, that is so funny. I just recorded this episode that you're going to die from. It's about gay ass movies. And you go, love that. Batman Returns. I'm like, mentioned.
Speaking of which, like these gloves are so bad.
So Penguin. It's insane. Michelle Pfeiffer brought up 3 times. You were like, Grease 2. I was like, obviously. And you basically guessed all of the ones you mentioned, though. You were like, did we talk about Kirsten Dunst? We did not, but she is
specifically
in Bring It On. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also was in that movie, which I do think is queer canon, All I Want to Do, where all the girls take over the school because they find out that the boys are going to be coming in and they like just do full out sabotage.
I feel like I haven't seen that movie in way too long, so I don't want to.
It's so good.
I'm going to rewatch it tonight. Another similar, no, not similar, but like gives me same sort of like love her, like Blondie is Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It's so gay. Like
is she the actress from Cobra Kai?
She's the like co-anchor in Ron Burgundy, whatever those movies are called.
Christina Applegate?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah. And the whole storyline is that they like steal like the babysitter. They have like an evil babysitter while the mom's away.
Yes.
They steal the money. They like and then, or like they need to make money. So she like lies and gets a job at like a uniform company, but like she's really into fashion. And then she keeps using the petty cash to like pay for things at home. And then when it comes to like actually using like the petty cash for stuff, she like has to do like a fashion show. It made more sense, but like also like I remember things like in gay. So it's like,
yeah, it's like I remember the fashion show and nothing else.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, Kirsten Dunst also Melancholia and Marie Antoinette. Antoinette was like, I mean, they're both like in the 2000s. So it wasn't like a child, but it's like still like, I love the idea.
It doesn't have to be when we were children, though, because there's still children who are born after us.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It's not all about us.
It's so strange.
I always thought that like I was going to be part of the target demographic of commercials.
Not anymore.
Like, no. The commercials will follow me. And now they don't. And I'm like, who
are you targeting?
Yeah. What is TikTok?
You also called out, which I wanted to mention, the girl who carries the suitcases in The Parent Trap is,
oh my God,
like
literally queer icon. And it got me thinking, look at the material.
We didn't talk about what these movies all had in common. And I was trying to break them down. Like, I think they all have a character that if they are not queer, they're queer coded. And the queer character is in a positive light, you know, like
that movie had multiple, like the butler, the aunt.
What aunt?
Isn't it her aunt?
Chessie? No.
Isn't Chessie her?
No.
Chessie is her aunt?
No, Chessie is Aiden's aunt from your writing class.
No,
she is Aiden's aunt in real life. That's why you're thinking she's an aunt.
But I literally thought that in that movie she like was the aunt and she like worked for the dad because
she's
the
nanny.
Successful.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so the nanny.
Yeah.
And then also at the camp, the boy who got sent to the all-girls camp,
Lindsay
which was
Lohan's little brother in real life. Yeah.
My dream of all time was like, I hope like just like 1 year they don't make me get on the boat to go across to boys camp and they just let me stay at girls camp, and it never happened. But...
And he stays the whole summer. Like you see him the first day being like, Mom, come pick me up. And then at the end of the summer, he's like, I'll miss you guys so much.
I literally, when I think about him, I'm just like that. It was my dream. Like to this day, I still have dreams set at my camp, but
Mm-hmm.
the scenarios are like situations that are good. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like me in full drag, but it's like at camp, and
At
I'm
camp.
like showing everybody like we're all back and we're all like 31 or whatever, but like I'm like my fully formed me now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I show up like this. But like, I don't know. Cut that out.
No. I have a deep question because I asked it to somebody the other day. If you could go back in time with your brain that you have now.
No, you don't even have to finish.
Wait. How far back would you go? And you have to complete your life. Like you can't jump back.
Do I know that I jumped back?
Yes, I'm saying you take your brain.
Oh, kindergarten. As soon as like they start asking you questions like that you can answer, kindergarten, because like first of all, I would be they would think I was a genius.
Yeah.
I would like sit my parents down and be like, I need to tell you something. I'm from the future.
Mm-hmm. So
you
would
need to
tell
put me
them.
in.
Wow.
You need to put me in commercials.
Okay.
And
amazing.
we're going to make so much
amazing.
money.
Amazing. My second
think-
question is, do you tell your parents? Because also, like, okay, so I asked somebody and she was like, yeah, I really liked spending time with my mom when I was little. So like then, and I was like, but then you have to have conversations as a child. Like, and she's like, oh yeah, I guess so. Like, but you could just tell your parents that you're from the future and hope that they don't submit you to science.
When I think about getting superpowers, I don't even think about saving the world. I think about like showing up at my friend's house and like knocking on their window and being like, look what I got. Like it's all about like if I went back in time with my knowledge now,
Mm-hmm.
I would make the biggest scene of me being from the future. Like I would be like the child from the future. And like I would be like, oh, we're branding this, like it's gonna be a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Call my agent, where's my Snapple? Like this is happening.
Do you think your parents would be ready for a gay child from the future?
No.
Considering when you actually like how would you come out? You're like, I'm 6,
Well,
I'm from the future, and I'm gay.
And I'm pretty fluid and like I'm
and I'm gonna do drag someday. Mom, hand me the earrings.
Well, I think that if I started at 6, by the time I was like 7 or 8, my dad was like right away, like
accepting.
My like his mother, all of her friends were gay, like in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was always really exposed. My mom was a little less exposed. And I think it took her a little bit of time just to sort of figure out like, okay, like the plan I had in my mind for Richard is different. But then once like,
but he also might be okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing too, is like, even with like wanting us to go into specific jobs or have specific sexualities, it's like, cause they just like want us to have a good life. And they think that that's the only way to have one until they're presented with an alternative and like see you happy and flourishing in that alternative.
Family. Like me and my mom started watching Modern Family, and I like instantly saw like
learning happening,
sort of drift away.
Aww.
Like, oh, like it's possible. I mean,
you can still have a family.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want that, but
but she doesn't have to know.
She doesn't have to know she's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would totally go back, and I would give my parents a year to figure it out, and I'd be like, if you do not let me like become a star within a year with my future knowledge, I'm going to emancipate. And then they would be like, that would be embarrassing. So let's just.
So we're not going to do that. We'll support it.
Exactly.
Okay. Which one's more embarrassing? Gay drag queen who's 7 or kid who wants to get emancipated?
There are amazing child.
There are.
Drag queens.
There are.
Drag people.
Yeah.
Like, performers. Just
it's
children
crazy.
of the future.
No, the only thing that keeps me back is I feel like I'd be incredibly horny, and the toy that I use doesn't exist yet. So then I would just get sent to like pent up me again.
And
that would be tough for me. But you could still jack off. Like,
could you not invent the toy and make money that way?
Robin, do you remember I literally did invent the toy in my head? I was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we could all get little blowjobs? But I wasn't friends. Yeah, I guess I could be like,
But you've
Mom,
got
I'm
the
Dad. I'm from the
knowledge.
future.
I have an idea. Like,
I think about what playlist I would go back with and like write the songs, and like that would be my like every song off of this child's album is
amazing. Yeah, it's
like Firework, Katy Perry. I don't know why that's always first on the album.
Yeah,
but
it's like a really eclectic album.
Yeah, it would be good. I'm like obviously blanking now on the playlist, but it's like it'll come to me.
But there was also something that we were talking about because we mentioned Clueless, but we didn't dig into Clueless as deep as I'd like to go. And I do think it would be fun because this episode's mostly been about us to do like rewatches with us, you know, like just do like a watch party or something.
Yes. Do I have to be in drag then?
No, you don't.
Okay. Sometimes I will be.
Yeah. Some of the best queens are just like bald for podcasts and stuff.
Also, like now that we're like an hour and I'm like, why did I wear a corset?
Yeah, like to sit down.
Yeah.
It's
Violet
bizarre.
Chachki would.
She would. But one of the things that we were talking about in Clueless was you were like, it took me so long to understand that like Christian was gay, like, you know, like the things, like I feel like we would watch Clueless over and over and like learn something new every time. And you were like, I also did not know what nose jobs were because you thought everybody had what on their nose instead of splints?
I thought they had sunscreen on their nose because it was
like
California.
zinc. Like
I thought that they were just like
they're like white casts on their nose or whatever. And Richard's thinking that they all have zinc on their nose. Meanwhile, the entire time I thought that there was a Cats musical being put on at the school and that they were all dressed up as cats. Like for the longest time until I got my nose job, I was like, oh my God, they were not doing cats.
No. Just did not understand. Wait, did you guys talk about like Heathers and Jawbreaker?
No, but so we have this whole gay. I did a whole story today being like, okay, if this is the criteria for gay ass movies, what's your favorite one? And I'm going to read the list that we got today because it is fucking flawless. And if you have anything to say on the way, keep it to yourself, God damn it. Okay. Unless it's amazing, and then I will let you speak. Okay, so My Best Friend's Wedding, Clueless, Bring It On, Grease, Grease 2, Miss Congeniality, Center Stage, Beverly Hills, True Beverly Hills, Mean Girls, Mean Girls 2, Practical Magic, Hocus Pocus, Stardust, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, First Wives Club, Drop Dead Gorgeous, Sister Act 2, Life Size, The Fifth Element, The Greatest Showman, Legally Blonde, Titanic, The Parent Trap, Hairspray, Mamma Mia, Crossroads, Motocrossed, Double Teamed, yes, from the Disney movie.
Every Disney movie.
Gay.
Gay.
Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney. Gay. Anything with Anne Hathaway, which we didn't mention last time because
and I've had such a journey on her, but I like her now.
I know, but this is why I think Anne Hathaway is for gay movies. You know how Eric was saying like we love a toxic woman or a woman like going through some shit because it like distracts gay men from like what's going on in their own lives. Like Anne Hathaway is like the woman we like love to hate. Like she's so like we love her, but we like hate her for some reason. But like she's like our like actor frenemy.
Well, we know the reason. Beth just told us to.
Oh, Beth just told us to hate her?
It was like a running joke.
Oh my God, you're right.
And it was like, and it's where I started to hate her because
we
didn't actually hate her. It was just a running joke, but like as with all things betches,
it becomes canon.
People didn't quite realize that it was all a joke, which you discussed with Sammy. But
Uptown Girls. Duh. And you'll start to hear repeating actors in this. Brittany Murphy's in a lot of gay-ass movies. Kirsten Dunst, Victor Garber, who's Mr. Andrews in Titanic, and he is the Professor Callahan in Legally Blonde. He's also gay in real life.
And he was gay on the musical alternate reality episode of The Flash.
Amazing.
Gayer.
Love Actually. Bridget Jones' Diary, all of them. Ghost, Robin's never seen, which she needs to. Whoopi Goldberg shows up in a lot of gay ass movies.
The Little Rascals, her cameo, when the kid's like, oh, that's my mom, and the other kid's like, whoopee, and then it's actually Whoopi in the set. Little Rascals is so gay.
Yeah. And Ghost is so gay because it's like a man jumping into a woman's body to like fuck his wife for the last time. What's Bogus?
She was in Bogus. Bogus is so gay. It's about a kid draws a thing on a paper and he becomes real, like an imaginary friend. And Whoopi Goldberg, like that's the gayest thing ever.
Yeah, creating imaginary friends because you don't have one. Yeah.
Yeah, so gay.
Oh, Drop Dead Fred. We don't mention that. So gay.
What about that movie? So gay.
Cruel Intentions.
But Showgirls is like also like so drag.
Right.
Cruel Intentions so gay.
Some of these were like iffy because people were like, she's the man. And I was like, I don't know. Because that's like more like queer coded. But like.
Yeah. She's the Man is like similar to like Mulan.
Yes. With that bisexual Shang Li energy and Channing Tatum.
And it's just like everyone's hot and like.
But they're also like lying.
Yeah. Love
Which
lying.
we love. Yeah.
We love lying. Wait, did anybody mention, this is like maybe out of left field, but like Beethoven 2? So gay.
No.
Okay, listen to this. Is there anything gayer than when the hot guy who turns out to be like an asshole tries to force a kiss on Rice, and Beethoven saves her by pulling down half of the house? He like pulls the deck out from under itself and the whole house collapses. Like that's so gay. And also
Debbie Mazar, literally like saving your friend from a creep at a bar. But like
Debbie Mazar,
you're down to like gay. Trash a house for it. Yeah.
And Debbie Mazar, the like villain woman who hates dogs and kids, which is like so gay. We love a kid hating villainess.
A woman who never wants to have children.
With her
101 Dalmatians. Cruella is a fashion icon who's like, Anita, darling, don't have children. It'll ruin your career.
Yeah. So gay.
Okay, Coyote Ugly turned all of us gay ass movie. Spice World, obviously. Gay ass movie.
That's almost like
like why would you say
some of them are like so obvious that it's like you don't even think to say them, but then it's like obviously so gay.
Phantom of the Opera, gay.
Gay.
Death
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
I think that The Fiddler is gay.
Okay. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Gay.
Gay.
Some of these movies are so straight, but they're
gay.
Campy and like gay.
Like 10 Things I Hate About You. Do you know who the gay character is? It's like the guy throwing the party who's like, that must be Nigel with the brie.
I feel like that's literally, he's the kid in Richie Rich who's like, this is not a cappuccino, this is a cafe latte. And then Richie Rich like pours it on him. So gay.
So gay.
Yeah.
Burlesque, Josie and the Pussycats, gay.
Gay.
Moulin Rouge, uber gay. You already said Heathers, so gay. Can I tell you the coolest thing about me? Speaking of Heathers. So if you guys have not seen Heathers, in Heathers, Veronica is friends with 3 girls named Heather. In high school, at one point, I was friends with 3 girls, Kate, Katie, and I was Remy.
Wow.
Chic.
I feel like I know some of those Kates.
You know some of those Kates, yeah.
I mean, maybe like 2 out of 3.
Yeah, you do. But those are the ones that you guys have submitted, and then I think we're gonna have to do an episode of like actual gay TV and movies, like with GBF. Like, GBF is amazing. Remember the first time we watched GBF?
At first, I think we were both like, is this okay? And then we were like, oh my God.
This is the best movie we've ever seen. Yeah.
You're like, why did we write this?
Yeah. No, and I think like GBF doesn't even fall into a gay ass movie. That falls into a gay movie. Like it's
just like it's like Love, Simon. It's like gay.
Yeah, it's gay. But also I think the writers are gay. Like that's what I think is so good about a lot of these movies is that they had queer staff.
If you're not like looking up the writers of things to like make sure it's okay to laugh at the jokes in the movies, it's like, is it even 2021?
It's not. Wait, I always forgot what I was just gonna say, and now I'm.
This
sweating.
whole podcast is me cutting you off.
Oh.
But it's like a glimpse into our real life.
It is our real life. All right, I have one huge confession for you. I have never seen Sister Act.
Oh my God, we should.
I know. You've literally been telling me to watch it for years.
And it almost made me like find Jesus.
Yeah, I lied my way through that last recording, just being like, yeah, it's gay canon, but I only knew that because of you.
Lying, so gay.
So gay. Before we go, I have to ask you about your first time coming. I've never even asked this before. Do you remember your first time coming?
Oh my God. It's so embarrassing because it's like, can I even talk about it? I mean, well, the first time I got off like by mistake when I was younger, like I don't remember. I literally remember it happening and me like, I don't remember how it happened, but it was like sort of like involuntary. And then I was like young enough that I was like, I leaned over the banister and I was like, Mom, I come. And she was like, nice, Richard. You know what I mean? Like, why are you yelling that through that? But like in retrospect, I don't even know if it was like a full, like I think it was just like,
that's so funny because like, and attention seeky and so similar to like when I first got my training bra, like I just like went around the house like in front of my dad and my brothers and my mom and my sister and I was like, look.
I thought you were going to say like how you like started a podcast about your coming situation.
That too.
And you guys, if you want to hear Richard's first intentional come, that is on patreon.com/howcome, along with a whole other hour of us talking about how Poutine first got into makeup, meeting her drag mother, Six, through our friend Tim, who you guys know from other episodes. So that's all on patreon.com/howcome. We had so much fun. I did not have the bandwidth to edit another hour, but if you guys want to hear the second half, everything on Patreon is only $5, and Poutine herself is a patron. And we're starting a channel on the Discord that is patrons only, where we can talk about all the stuff that gets cut. And yeah, we talk about more sex, way more gay ass movies. And if you are not on Patreon, we have the entire list on our Instagram. If you want to send us more, please do that. Also, we're going to be gearing up for that actual gay movie TV episode. So if you have any of your favorites, DM them to us.
But Richard, I love you so much. Poutine, I love you so much. Can you tell everybody where they can find you online and badger you to start a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm at Poutine Levine on Instagram, and I don't have anything else because I'm an old lady.
Amazing. I have to ask you this question. Did you finish?
I did.
Say it again.
I did.
Amazing. I did too. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll see you guys next time on How Come. Bye.
Bye to me.
Bye to you.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just
Hello.
And back. Why don't we try to do it this time without me cutting you off every time you speak?
No, it literally doesn't matter.
Remember that thing that I sent you that somebody else posted about? It's a Jewish conversation style called cooperative overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why other people find us so grating.
Yeah, but really we're just like participating.
We just love to chat.
With ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The machines that like monitor sound waves would be so confused. You know what I'm talking about?
Like audio?
That.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was so rude.
That was so rude.
That is a quote from a show that never occurred on the show that we made up.